Well, hello, good morning. This is the 6th of January, a Friday. And if you're not familiar with our Take 5 segment, this is where we take 5 minutes and give you a bit of a preview of what we're going to be discussing on the Sunday coming up. And so the Sunday I'm referring to is the 8th of January. Thank you for many of you who have reached out over the past couple of weeks. I know it was over the holiday season, but once again, I got COVID for a great early Christmas present, and so was unable to be with you on Christmas morning as planned. And obviously, our Christmas Eve service, because of the weather, we were able to, or we unfortunately had to cancel that. And I'm back in the saddle, feel much better, and look forward to spending some time with you, seeing you once again here in this brand new year. And we hope that we can meet in person, obviously, on the Sunday that is coming up at 10 o'clock at Faith Church. You are definitely welcome, but we also understand that, it may be something with your health or whatever that you are definitely welcome to watch on our YouTube channel. The teaching will be out on Saturday of what we're going to be discussing. Well, it's been an interesting week, and what happened Monday night, and unless you were under a rock, you know probably what I'm referring to. I was watching Monday Night Football, and there was a young man, and many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with this. He received a hit to the chest at just the right time, at just the right place, and just the right moment, and he went into cardiac arrest right there on the field. As I was watching this live, it was so interesting. Broadcasters did not know how to handle the situation. People on the field, the players, they just seemed out of sorts. Many of them were just pacing. Many of them had broken down. And most of them were just in really just kind of stunned silence of what was occurring there on the field. But there was also a beauty of that moment. It was one of those rare occasions where all of humanity sort of just comes together, and with all hope, we're just desiring that this young man who had just tackled someone, and he just popped up, if you were there and saw that live or saw the replays, on television or YouTube or whatever. He popped up, and then immediately he just fell down. And immediately there was this sense, there was this overwhelming atmosphere that this was not a normal injury on the field, like an injury to somebody's collarbone or a knee. This was more serious, right? EMTs came rushing on the field, and they were performing CPR. Fortunately, as the week has progressed, we've received some positive news, of this young man recovering. But it's one of those beautiful moments where all of humanity really is just striving for this young man who had gotten up and then had fallen. It was just really all the hopes that he would stand up once again. Everybody wanted him to stand up. He had fallen, and yet he had this desire. We had this desire, just pop back up, or be on that stretcher and give that thumbs up, right? Well, as I looked at that moment, I wish we could just kind of freeze that moment in time just a bit, where collectively, everybody who was watching, the majority by far, just wanted to see this young man stand, back up. Unfortunately, that's not the reality, especially if you're a believer in Jesus. Unfortunately, this is the reality. This is the situation that there are many in our culture, especially if you bear the name Christian or if you call yourself a Jesus follower, that desires you not to get back up once you have fallen, or desires you to fall. And so as we were kind of popping back into our teaching series on the book of Philippians, Paul is going to be addressing this particular issue. How do we stand in a culture that desires us to fall? And so we're going to be addressing that. We're on the tail end of the very first chapter in the book of Philippians, and Paul shifts a bit from the stuff that has been happening in his life. He's reflected on his past and how God has used all those difficulties in his past and advanced the gospel. He's been talking about his present situation, chained to a Roman soldier, and how God was using that present circumstance. And Paul's also been reflecting on his future, that no matter what happens as he's awaiting a trial that would really either seal his fate and lead to his death, or he would possibly be released. He's been contemplating on his past, his present, and his future. And then he shifts from his present situation in the past and his thoughts on the future, what may happen to him. And then he focuses on this predicament that we see that he is writing to these people in this city of Philippi, or the city of Philadelphia, because they were in a culture where people desired them to fall. And there's so many connections that we can see with our culture as well. Unfortunately, we are surrounded not by the people that we saw on Monday night, desiring someone who has fallen to get back up. We unfortunately live in a culture, especially if you're a believer, where people in many ways celebrate people who have fallen, who bear the name Christian or bear the name Jesus follower, to fall down and remain down. And so Paul addresses this situation, and it's going to be very relevant and very pertinent to us. And I hope that you will grace us with your presence at 10 o'clock at Faith Church on Sunday morning. If not, you can follow us on YouTube as we discuss how to stand in a culture that desires us to fall. Well, God bless you on your rest of your day. Have a wonderful Friday. We will see you hopefully on Sunday morning. God bless.